Okay, let me see if I can do a little bit of adjustment here and see if I do this is going to work. Good afternoon, my fellow citizens. It's important I welcome all of you to this afternoon's podcast. And on Facts versus Fiction today, we do not have any new updates for you, but at least from my vantage point, I'm trying to. Okay. Again, let me thank all of you for tuning in to Facts versus Fiction, something I try to work with here at the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism, which is an effective way of disseminating information in addition to the Liberian Broadcasting System, the LBS, ELBC, LNTV, the New Liberian newspaper. I always begin my podcast by a welcome to all of you and an introduction that I'm Eugene L. Fangon, the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism. I'd like to welcome all of you, Nelson Weah, and all of you that have come on board. And always, I like to say, in order to get factual information in real time, if you are someone who loves to read, I encourage you to grab a copy of the New Liberian newspaper. Prints are great, picture quality excellent, the layout is perfect, and the cost is affordable. It's just 30 Liberian dollars, and it carries more pages of real and authentic stories that compared to some of our competitors on the market, we don't see much of that. More so, since it's a government-owned newspaper, it will you will know that we're first in news and best in terms of the entertainment and the presentation, the layout, the story, the content, and everything. So I encourage you. I encourage you to grab your copy every day. I promise you, you will not be let down. I think you can see the picture quality, the writings, and everything is great. No one can tell your story better than you yourself. Again, you can take a look for yourself. And we have nothing to hide. Whatever happens, we make sure we bring you the news first and foremost. And nobody gets the news better than we do. As a matter of fact, we have the Liberian News Agency that is an ardent contributor to this paper. And we have journalists in all 15 counties. And we're able to bring you the news because they're assigned. We also have PROs, public information officers, in all of the ministries, agencies, and government corporations or what have you. We also have public relations officers in those areas. So when we give you news, it's news, and it's real news. Okay, so I encourage you to grab your copy. Now, let me not waste your time because I want to be out of here in 10 minutes. I just want to update you that what's trending on social media remains an issue trending within the government. That indeed it is an active and ongoing investigation. Let me repeat that for you. It is an active and ongoing investigation. What do we mean by that? So you don't start interpreting it as want us to know certain things. No, it's not that. in an active and ongoing investigation, you're careful about the way you divulge information simply because if you don't do it the right way, right? Let's say we keep talking about this thing and somebody says, to you, do you know that the container was placed at SKD Boulevard at address number 23 in the house of a man called, let me look for somebody to pick on, Mike Fire Davis, my friend and brother? Do you think in your wildest imagination that after hearing that on the radio, that Mike Fire Davis, who knows that he's culpable and actually within his spirit knows that he actually did it, do you think he's going to sit down and wait for you to come and arrest him? Do you think that he's going to sit down and wait for you to come and arrest him? Do you think if Peter Paul is linked to this whole saga and he stole $15 out of not 100 Liberian dollars, just 15, do you think he's going to sit down and hear his name on radio and wait for you to come and get him? That is the reason why when some of our people ask that when you got to know about this, why did you not immediately inform the public right away? The investigation has been going on for some time. And we have said it involves the Liberian National Police, the National Security Agency, the Financial Intelligence Unit, among several other law enforcement agencies. Now, Mike Fire Davis, because now everybody's going to rush to his house to look for the container. All right, Mike, I'll pay the fine of the beer. But again, that is why law enforcement is very important. Is very careful about what they put out there. And as the consuming public and the agency responsible for articulating government program policies and projects, and for interacting with the public relative to information, we are also very careful about what we put out there to you. Because if we don't get the information from law enforcement, whatever we tell you or gave you will be mere perception, speculation, or just some trumped up garbage that we will sell out to you, which could further jeopardize future litigation or mitigation, if you want to cut it that way. And the reason why I say so, when you grab somebody, they might be able to tell you that this is what happened. The Minister of Information said this. The Deputy Minister of Press and Public Affairs said this. And the government said this. So we don't have a corroboration of facts here. Instead, what we have is some manufactured components of lies from different individuals within the government. And that is why we are very careful. Now, we've told you that several agencies are involved with the investigation. We also told you that it is an ongoing and active investigation. Therefore, it is not in the best interest for us to give you all of the information at once. There will be bits and pieces here. And so we were able to inform you, as opposed to what people thought, that indeed there was an investigation. Indeed, there is an allegation of monies brought into the country. Indeed, that they were brought in two separate locations, through two separate locations, the airport and the seaport, and God knows what else. But we also were able to inform you that it was between the period of November to that of August that this alleged saga occurred. That indeed there is an active and ongoing investigation, like we said, that the president ordered that immediately, and that he himself has ears and he's on top of that. So, what do we want to accomplish here today in facts versus fiction? What is it that we want to accomplish here today? What we want to accomplish here is fact number one. Who amongst you watching this podcast? Who amongst you watching this podcast can state for a fact that you know the exact amount in question and the currency in question? Who amongst you? Because it's easier for one group to say 9 billion. It's also easier for another group to say 16 billion. It's also very simple for people to quote it in US dollars and another group to equate it or using the exchange rate to make a determination that it is 16 billion Liberian dollars. Let us use some common sense here. If the total amount of Liberian dollars in circulation is placed or estimated to be $15 billion, an additional 16 billion Liberian dollars will do what? Create a situation of what? Hyperinflation. True or false? So the idea that in the absence of the Ministry of Justice coming to you and say, I like the question Weah asks, I love Liberian people. She say, you now found our money now? And for those of you in Radio France International, the BBC, VOA, that normally follow my podcast, if you see me stop to speak to a Liberian, it means at some point in time we need to add some semblance of humor to the discourse. But a typical Liberian would probably insinuate or try to imply that I don't want to hear it. Have you found the money? Because it's like we're more interested in the money than we are interested in the explanation you're giving, even though it's important to us. But that is why I was tickled to answer that. Again, let's proceed. If we, at this point, cannot make that determination as to what is the specific amount, what currency are we talking about here? Who are those involved? When did it happen? How did it happen? Why did it happen? Who are those responsible? These are all legitimate concerns, but most importantly, questions. They're very important. And that is why the president, in his wisdom, wants to give you accurate information. I will term it as maximum amount of information in minimum time, while erring on the side of caution. We have to be very careful. So one group is saying 9 billion, the other 16 billion. The other saying Liberian dollar, the other one saying US dollars. Some groups are saying, yes, we were told three countries that the monies were printed in. Lebanon, China, and just hold on a minute, it's just taken off my head. And what's the other country? Okay, hold on a minute, I'll refresh my brain, and my brain is having a freeze. So, but there are three countries that they claim the monies were printed in. The reason why the Justice Ministry came up to you and said, look, listen, it is an active investigation, is to get you to understand that when an ongoing investigation is active, it is not in the interest of the public to give information, sweeting, thank you very much. It is not in the interest. Thank you, Titus Cooper. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help, sweetie. It is not in the interest of the public for you to come up and Sweden or Switzerland and just come up and give information that you're not 100% certain about that could jeopardize the case later on. Later on. So they're very careful. They're doing everything to give you information, but they want to make sure that the information is somewhat correct. Now, what you follow on social media, we need to establish certain facts here. Certain facts. And I will give you fact number 1 before I delve into the real topic here. The reason why I've been able to use this book so effectively, because this is the Liberian Constitution. No matter who you are, you cannot run from it. So first of all, let's see why we have an active investigation going on. If for any reason we accept that monies came into the country, and somewhat they came in 2 ports of entry, the seaport and the airport, 2 ports of entry. And that somewhat the current president was not informed that the central bank may or may not know that we don't even know the amount. And let's make it simple. We don't know what's going on as a people. Fact number 1. Article 34 of our Constitution. Article 34D. Follow me. I often quote. And that's why I give facts. I don't give fiction. Article 34D. The legislature shall have the power to levy taxes, duties, imposts, excise, and other revenues, to borrow money, issue currency, is what I want you to take. Issue currency, mint coins, and to make appropriations for the physical governance of the republic, subject to the following qualification. Subject to the following qualification. Now, issued currency, part of the function of the legislature. But let's go to D2. I want to draw your attention to Article 33, D2. No monies. I'm reading it, right? No monies shall be drawn from the treasury except in consequence of appropriations made by legislative enactment and upon warrant of the president. And no coin shall be minted or national currency issued except by the express authority of the legislature. I'm not going to go any further. Was this the case? Did the legislature order the issuance of the currency, be it 9 billion, 16 billion, whatever billion as is being speculated or alleged? Did the legislature know about this? It is an ongoing investigation. But what I'm most concerned about, that I want you all to take from this, is what I put out there. How the president managed to avoid an economic disaster. And here is why you expect me to come here and give you information. But I have said to you, the government says, indeed, there were monies that came in the country between November to that of August. Point 1, wash my fingers. Point 2, the government says it acknowledges that there is an active and ongoing investigation. Point 3, that the investigation is being carried out by 3 lead agencies followed by other law enforcement agencies. The 3 lead agencies are the Liberian National Police, the National Security Agency, and the Financial Intelligence Unit of the Republic of Liberia, backed by other law enforcement agencies. The Liberian government, again, says it is an active and ongoing investigation. Therefore, the Liberian government have not given you clear-cut in cents and dollars or a definitive currency for that battle, or have not put out any names. And part of the reason why it is doing so is to help you understand that this is an active and ongoing investigation. As time goes by, if tomorrow comes and the government decides to come up, the government will come up with the names and will let you know. Now, there are some of you who say, why didn't you say it from the get-go, from the day the president announced it, that people at the Ministry of Information are inept, that people at MICA don't know how to do their jobs? No. No. It is against best security practices to get a what we call, quote unquote, a lead. Many of you may not know, especially those in the opposition. To get a lead, security officers follow a lead. They are not like us. Every information they give us, sometimes we're ready to talk. No, for them, they get the lead, they follow the lead, and they begin an investigation. In some cases, it takes months for them to come up to say something. Okay? Now, people ask me, you said you were going to tell us how the president escaped an economic disaster. Many of you know that if we accept, and I'm done with the issue, that if we accept, okay, that these monies came in between November of 2017, when our president was not even then a president, still a senator, running a very effective campaign, of which I was part and very instrumental. He was only a senator, not even elected in November of 2017. At that time, no one knew who the president was. Of course, some of us knew that it was just a matter of time. Okay? But upon becoming president after he was sworn in, imagine November, December, then January, then February, we're talking about monies here and there. No sooner had he assumed the responsibility and the mandate of the Liberian people, we saw our US dollars and our Liberian dollars competing, where the Liberian dollar was depreciating at the rate of, my friend can say, 9.8 meters per second square, like gravitational force. 9.81 meters per second square. Dropping like something out of space. And then we realized that it was not just dropping, like as in the case of a currency being devalued, but it was dropping astronomically on an hourly basis, in some cases on a daily basis. That is where you realize that indeed the legacy of a true leader is never questioned. So let me help you understand before I go further. Some of our detractors said, oh, the president cannot handle the situation. One particular political leader said, and I quote, President Weah does not understand the enormity of what he took on. And then one of my colleagues responded by saying, and this is not the Coca-Cola factory. Hi, Honorable John J. Jacobs. He said, this is not the Coca-Cola factory. And then the noise started. Okay? But now we know, many of you watching this podcast now seem to be stepping back. And you may not want to give President Weah credit, but now let us go back in the midst of seeing what happened and begin to now reflect on what was happening. Because some of us are about to go back and remind you in the month of May from our post when we said to you, a day will come when this day will come. And we made specific reference to this particular incident. And it is not a hidden secret anymore. The president proceeded. First thing he did was to institute austerity measures within his government, slicing his own paycheck by 25%, slicing all other government officials, not all others, sorry, I take that back, all other members of the executive branch of government, wearing by 10%, and also ensuring that no one, absolutely no one, made over $8,000. That is in sharp contrast to what happened in the previous government. No sooner had he done that, saving the government about almost $60 million a year, we saw the hemorrhaging of our Liberian dollars. So, you and I know that the monies were so much so that anybody could get up in the morning, run on the street and say, I'm changing for 160 today. The moment another gentleman can stand beside him and say, I'm changing for 162, I'm changing for 163. First thing the president did was to call the importers of rice. Now I'm going to remind you so that you all can begin to reflect. Before I close this podcast, I want you all to begin to reflect. He called the importers of rice. Being that we spend almost $200 million on the importation of rice annually, and that foreign exchange was in short supply, due to the fact that many of our export commodities, the prices had dwindled, and that the premature exit of oil that drew up almost $200 million too, in what? Foreign exchange. So on the one hand, we had our cash commodities, the prices dwindling. That includes rubber, iron ore, whatever you want to call it. We had the exit of oil, took away another $200 million, almost. So even if give and take, you want to make it $300 million in foreign exchange, it was gone. So then there was a scarcity of foreign exchange. And if we import rice at the cost of about $200 million, then of course you and I know the rice importers needed the foreign exchange. So there was a scarcity right there. And anywhere, the law of supply and demand, anywhere you find scarcity, you will find demand. And anywhere there is a demand, the demand for a single commodity whatsoever brings about the rise in that commodity. So then the fight for foreign exchange further contributed to that. So President George Weah invited the rice importers, made a deal, struck a deal, and there was a reduction of almost $4. That was his first approach to that situation. I'm saying how President Weah, in connection with this, avoided an economic disaster, which in short will not allow him to compromise on anyone responsible for any criminal act should it be proven that they are involved. It remains an allegation and there is an active investigation ongoing. So I've given you point one. Point two, he ordered the central bank governor at the time, in collaboration with the finance minister, to carry out a review of the current economic policies and come up with recommendations. Everyone was here. Everybody was around somehow paying attention to that. And then what happened? He asked them to report to him. That was the second step. When they came back, he constituted an economic management team immediately to address the situation, of which years they had. That's still under step two. Step three, the recommendation saw the ordering of all money changers on the street to be licensed or face jail time. That was step 3. With the hope that they were going to be able to stem the hemorrhaging, where people were changing money at will and pleasure at their own determined rate as opposed to the central bank rate. They gave them up to May 31st. We were here. Step 4. The president moved to lower the tariffs on over 2,000 basic commodities. All of this, I'm trying to take your mind back to what is happening right now, to show you that if it is proving that people are involved, that this president will not hesitate to penalize anyone caught. Because these are some of the things that this president had to go through to fight to stabilize this economy. And with such, people want to believe that he will compromise the interest of the Liberian people. I'm just to step 3, and people are saying, oh my God. So put yourself in the shoes of His Excellency President George Manneh Weah. If you had to go through all of this, we're just to step 3. Let's go to step 4. Let's go to step 4. After he had lowered tariffs on over 2,000 basic commodities, step 5, he had to go through a series of meetings with the IMF, with the EU, with the World Bank, and other partners, all in the battle to stabilize our economy. Step 4. He turned around. He was constrained to reduce the fees affecting the imports of certain things into the country, medical supplies, school supplies, while lifting unnecessary restrictions. So from austerity measure to all of this, what we are arguing is against the backdrop that this president escaped an economic disaster in this country, that he fought from start to finish until this day came true. And our detractors want you to believe that after this president did all of this that I just cataloged to you, without knowing that these monies were coming through the airport and the seaport as alleged, that monies were in containers as alleged, and you are saying on social media, our opponents are saying, nothing will come out of it. To some degree, they're right, because if people are not guilty, or people are not investigated properly, or there's no probable cause to arrest anybody, and then, of course. But I have cataloged to you what this president went through. If you were to go through what he went through, the kind of criticism, the whipping he took from them, the insults, when you catch the same people that have insulted you, that say you did not even understand the enormity of what happened, that you had no idea about the economy, if you catch them in the act, would you let them go? Would you let them go? If they were caught in the act, would you let them go? Some of you need to answer. Would you let them go? If you had to hold meeting and bargain with rice importer, if you had to order CBL, constitute a management team, put money changers to license, reduce tariffs on all over 2,000 basic commodities by what? 40%. Whole meeting with EU, fighting day and night. When you arrest the people responsible, would you let them go? So for our colleagues to be saying, our compatriots on the other side of the divide, to be insinuating that, oh, this president is weak, you are right, because you live in an era where corruption was spun and nothing came out of it, not one day. You live in an era where 8 months into the previous government or whatsoever, the first month saw corruption. Whereas in this government, we still have yet to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that a ministry agency or a minister of government, including myself, have been involved in some form of corruption. So indeed, what you are used to, nobody can fault you for it. You are used to seeing people walk with impunity. You know, you are used to it. But under this administration, even a normal person would tell you that what this president had to go through in his first 6 months in office, even up to the present, to know that it was brought upon by human beings against the state to the detriment of an entire nation that went on the brink of complete economic sabotage, and you are going to sit and say the president is going to let them go? I don't think, in my wisdom, that the president will let them go. The reason why I say so is because the president is not responsible to or to not let them go. The president is a law-abiding citizen first and foremost before being president. The president understands that we have 3 separate branches of government. The president understands that the legislative branch of government makes the law, that the judiciary branch of government interprets the law, that the executive branch of government enforces the law. What I can tell you, just like I told you in the case of the establishment of the War Crimes Court, that it was the responsibility of the legislative branch of government to take the necessary action, thereby redirecting the focus from the president. Let me inform you today that the president does not have a power to let or not let them go before justice takes its course. The president has committed himself to ensuring that justice will prevail at all times, in all matters, and in all cases. Therefore, the law, I repeat, and I want everybody to take this from me, the law will take its course, and the law will make the determination. So in short, let us leave our president out of it. That is why law enforcement is investigating. The law will take its course, and the law will make the determination whether to prosecute or to let go, whether to allow plea bargains, whether to arrest or not to arrest. And even to arrest, the law says there must be what? Probable cause. So, facts versus fiction. What is the fact? The fact is that the law will make the determination. The law will take its course. What is the fiction? That the president will decide to let the people go. That the president will pardon the people even before the investigation starts. No. That the president will interrupt the investigation and stop them. No. No. It is an active and ongoing investigation. The Liberian people will get to know all of the facts. When law enforcement makes the determination that the Liberian people deserve to know and know immediately. And at any stage of the investigation, if at all, in our capacity here at the Ministry of Information, we have the adequate information, we will give it to you. If arrests are made, we will let you know. If there is an ongoing interrogation that law enforcement deems necessary, that we let the public know about, we will let you know about. But as it stands right now, the investigation is active and ongoing. Law enforcement, 24/7, around the clock. This is no joking matter. Let me inform you that the president is briefed on a daily basis on the progress being made. That the president is on top of this matter in the interests of the Liberian people, and the president is very cautious about how he proceeds so that law enforcement are able to carry out their duties. This is not the case where one person just say, "Point it, do this," you know, like someone said, you jailed somebody What kind of power I got to jail anybody in this life? Come on now. You go report somebody to the police station. If the police determine that they will keep the person, how is it your fault that you jail the person? If the police say get outside, then you will say, no, I say put the person in jail. What power you got? We've graduated from those kind of petty politics long time. You know? But the truth of the matter, and it undercuts the professionalism of the Liberian National Police. That any Tom, Dick, and Harry can just walk to them and say, jail this man. No. The police don't take orders from anybody. They have to go through the standard operating procedure. And they will make their determination. So at the end of the day, it's not anybody calling the shots. So let's leave tonight, or this evening, by saying, monies came into the country through the seaport and the airport. That is a fact. We cannot state for a fact in dollars, in cents, or anything what we got out there. Some put it at 9 billion, some put it at 16 billion, some say 100. In fact, one account quotes it on Facebook at 54 million. Go read Samuel Jackson posts. Go and read that. So we cannot keep taking figures from all around the place. Let's be careful. At the appropriate time, the government will stand before you and say, this is what we have so far. This is what we have so far. Somebody said, don't say monies. You know where I went to school? When we say monies, we're very specific, not to one currency, because some people say dollars, some people say Liberian dollars, some people say this. We don't know for a fact. We just know that monies came into the country. Do you know for a fact? That is why we have to be very, very careful. Imagine what's going on Facebook. Imagine for a second. Some people are saying 54 million. Some accounts, be honest with yourselves. Some accounts say 120 million US, 120 million United States dollars. Some say 19 billion Liberian dollars. Some say 16 billion. Others are saying 9 billion. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So we came here today to tell you that the president will not compromise with justice. Never, not before, and not even in this case. That every investigation that will be conducted in keeping with the law. It's not like before where they say, handcuff that man. He used to be the central bank governor. Handcuff that man. He used to be the Freeport manager. Handcuff that guy. He used to be at... No. Under this president, that doesn't happen. And that will not happen. He goes strictly in line with the Constitution. It's what he has done from day one, and it's what he's signed up for to continue. That is why he decided to return power to the people as one of his pillars. Not abuse power, but take power away from the people. So, indeed, I wanted you all to have a good reason to believe that this president will not compromise, because no one suffered the most. No one went through sleepless nights. You wake up in the morning, the rate is this. People are dying. There's no food. The price of 2 chicken feet is 400. The same people that were making such noise. It turns out that the opposition, the money started flowing from the time they were in office. And so today they are now saying, he could not handle the economy. No, we're getting to know some things now. And it's just a matter of time for us to be able to make the determination as to whether there is culpability here and whether or not this government is going to grab some people, and whether where the monies are, if there are monies, dollars, Liberian dollars, US dollars, European currency, CFA, whatever they are. The allegations is that no monies came into the country. And everything for now, it's reduced to allegation and such. The investigation is active and ongoing. And Elizana Dolo, he said the money must be available. The money must be available. You know, let's add a sense of humor in closing. A sense of humor. You know, Liberians, Liberians, you know, we're very friendly people. We can fuss sometimes and then we laugh and joke the other time. From the beginning of the podcast, someone said, we don't want to hear anything. Where's the money? The other guy just said the money must be available. Whether it's EU money or data money, the money must come back. But again, Randall Gray said, "Oh, militant." We want to close up on this note. We want to be very careful. We want to listen to the Liberian government. The government is investigating. You want to be careful how you get your news from outside. And when the information becomes readily available, we will give them to you as the investigation progresses. I want to also let you know that I will hide nothing from you, but also I'll be very careful to make sure that whatever information is given to me is accurate before I give it to you. And most importantly, such information will come from my boss, Honorable Len Eugene Nangbe, which will then filter to me, and then I will filter the information to you. People say, you know, why do you use Facebook? Well, you and I will agree this whole thing jumped on Facebook. The whole battle ensued on Facebook. Everything that's literally happened in this country that we had to respond to originated from a Facebook post that was heavily followed and was trending. So if you're going to use Facebook to disseminate falsehood and create misperception, chaos, I don't see how you expect us to use copybook and textbook to respond to you. I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, it's not. And because this tool is available and costs less, I know it costs a little bit more. It's $30 for the data. And it's been a while since I received $30 from government for data. But we all have to chip in and help our government. But again, if you can use it, we can use it. So Abu Masale said, "Y'all bring our money back." Someone says, "Shameless goat." You know, it's some of those things. When the determination is made, you people will be informed. We have television running. You know, we have television running. So we'll give you the figures. Thank you all for joining us, and that's what we wanted to do for Facts versus Fiction. And fiction is mostly attributed to some of the Facebook postings that people will go out and give information that they're not privileged to. And from the ministry's standpoint, it's our duty to come out there on the same Facebook and say, no, this is not the case. This is an active and ongoing investigation. As the information becomes readily available, we'll give them to you. Most importantly, please do not take every information you see on Facebook and say that it is 100% authentic and factual. It's also good to listen to the government side and be able to follow it. Thank you, and it was nice having all of you. We will join you again when some important information comes up. But if we look on Facebook again and see people distorting the facts and providing misinformation, we'll turn on the same cameras and begin to provide you information that we believe will counter the lies and deception. Thanks for joining us.